Beyond the skies, you and I, we're breaking bounds on Baobab.
Welcome, everyone. So happy to have you here with us for our exciting program that we have planned. Give me just a moment. I'm going to share my screen and introduce for you what we have lined up for today. So today we're going to talk about transitions and how to thrive through them, recognize and navigate stress, overcome challenges, and build resilience. We're so excited. We have a really exciting lineup of guests. We have Dr. Jean-Pierre Ndagijimana is our main guest here from Solid Minds. And I am Elizabeth McDonald, and I have been a career readiness coach for Baobab for about 5 or 6 years now. So excited to be here with you. Solid Minds, I'd like to introduce you to what it is in case you're not familiar with it. It's a private, independent, outpatient mental health clinic located in Kigali, Rwanda, and it's licensed by the Rwandan Ministry of Health. They provide excellent evidence-based psychological services to individuals, couples, families, and children. Their organizational services include employees, assistance programs, capacity building, consultation, training, and supervision, as well as delivering student wellness programs with universities. You can read more on their website. Maybe Kelvin or Victorine can put the link to the website in chat in case people want to check it out. Solid Minds has been providing confidential mental health support to MasterCard Foundation scholars since August 2019, as well as awareness raising and capacity building around mental health and well-being for partner organizations through a Kigali-focused pilot project. They'll be starting a new and exciting 3-year project that will promote mental health and wellness for our MasterCard Foundation scholars, alumni, and Africa-based partner organizations. So that's who we're partnering with today. And again, here we're going to call him JPN. He's our senior clinician for student mental health and well-being capacity building at Solid Minds Counseling Clinic. And we have with us some guests who are going to talk about their own experiences of dealing with change and transitions. We have Angers Sandrine from MasterCard Foundation alumni. We have Clementine Nyonteze. We have Martha sorry if I butcher your name, Iradukunda R. We have Ishimwe Shalan, and we have Nyakecho Robina. So our plan for today, the agenda we have, so first we have our introduction. We're going to be defining our key terms. We're going to share some statistics related to mental health in college settings and beyond. We're going to acknowledge the struggles of post-college transitions, identify signs of distress, talk about strategies for coping and resilience. Then our panelists are going to come in and they're going to share their experiences of going through challenging transitions, and then we'll have a question and answer session. In the webinar, there's a place in the Q&A where you can post your questions. If you could post your questions there, at the end we'll take a look at them and we'll answer your questions. So on that note, I would like to just briefly keep our group rules. Mute yourself when not speaking. Participate, raise your hand or use your chat or emojis. Please listen to each other and don't hesitate to ask questions and participate. With that, I'm going to hand the floor over to JPN and let him take it from there. So Kelvin, if you can make him the focus, that'd be great. And JPN, you're muted.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Elizabeth. Thank you so much, the Baobab team, for hosting Solid Minds team, and also the community. And as I say, community, I'm very intentional as we came as a community. We did not come as one individual, we came as a community because we do believe in community care. We do believe that when we come together to support one another, there is a chance that once we deal with this sense of loneliness, that many of us feel inside and feel like we are with so many people, but still you feel alone in this journey. we wanted to make sure that we come as a community so that we can also address diverse challenges related to transitions. And as we talk about transitions, I thought it would be great to start with what are we trying to talk about. And again, we are going to have a space where we are going to engage the community I came with, but I do also invite you to participate as a community. Please share, ask questions, comment, share what you think. As I speak, as the colleagues speak, feel free to also write down in the chat box what you are thinking. And I am coming, my positionality, I'm coming as a senior clinician at the Solid Minds, but I'm not just a senior clinician, a staff member. I'm a brother. I am whatever relationship you may feel is comfortable for you, but I'm more than being a staff member. I'm a human. And I'm also talking to the experiences that myself have gone through. And I will be vulnerable with you, the same with the team, whatever they are comfortable sharing. So we know that we struggle in isolation. And we want to make sure that this is a safe space that you too can feel comfortable to ask questions that you are sometimes not free to ask, maybe because you feel like someone will judge you, will laugh at you. So we want to make sure that you join, knowing that we are coming with our whole hearts. So what are we talking about? When we talk about this topic of transitions and dealing with stress, again, when talking about transitions and stress, it's kind of twins. They go in parallel. And but that stress doesn't have to kill us in these transitions from college or from grad studies to your different areas of life. And as we say, these transitions and the adding in the plural is that is transitioning to different areas of life. Maybe you are trying to transition from here to graduate studies. And how do I apply? What do I study? What do I choose to focus on? What do I research? Which university? Who is offering a scholarship? It's so much. But also maybe you're transitioning to employment. And with that employment, you kind of struggling, like, where do I get a job? I've been studying and I did great, I get these grades, but how am I going to get a job? How do I make sure that the interview, once I get a chance to be selected to the interview, how do I do it? Sometimes when the real thing comes, you feel like you forget everything that you have been taught. Or maybe the education system did not prepare you for that. That's also true. So whether you are, the transitions means from school to school, graduate studies as an example, from school to career, we understand that there is challenges around that. And you're not alone. But it's not just that. There is also, maybe you're trying to transition from school to getting married. Maybe you have a fiance and maybe you have a boyfriend, a girlfriend, or the relationship you have, romantic relationships. And moving on from, do I get married right now? Do I need to first work and then get some money and support my family or myself and start something? That transition can be heavy. And maybe you are transitioning from school and you don't have the basics. Are you going to take the suitcases and then go back home and that's all? We understand that expectations from a family, maybe for many, I don't say everyone, has been a lot. And feeling like I'm going back to live with my family, I don't have money, I don't have a job. that can be hard. Maybe even that stipend is what you were allowing you to stay on a campus, having an apartment, and there is a grief that can come from there. The loss, you are gets excited, but you still feel uncomfortable and feel scared and uncertain. Or maybe you are moving on from school to maybe creating a company, your own business. And maybe in your family or yourself, you don't have background in business. You don't have those social capitals, those real knowledge and experiences on how to do that. Maybe you want to create an NGO, but in terms of how to do that transition, it's a lot. There are many. That's not an exhaustive list. So when we're talking about transitions, that's what we are trying to acknowledge, the heaviness around that, and the uncertainty and the stress that come with that. And please feel free to put in the chat box what else. What else are you feeling? What are the other challenges that I did not name that are important to be acknowledged, that are causing the fears and uncertainties? What else? And again, then with those transitions, we understand that they come with stress. But stress, when we talk about it here and there, when we talk about the stress is not good or bad. Actually, it can be good. It's what wakes you up and go and study and apply for jobs. But when this stress is prolonged and sustained, that is what we are talking about, distress, which is that brain and body reaction to the stressors that you are accumulating from everything I'm talking about and beyond. When all of those are happening and maybe triggering your own memories, those reactions you are having is what we are talking about, distress. And that can affect your emotions, can affect your relationships, can affect the business, the future you want to build, can affect almost everything, including your spiritual life, your body. So that's the distress, again, we are talking about. And as a result of this workshop, what we want to see is, as we come together as a community, despite of those challenges, maybe we may not be able to remove those challenges. We may not be able to change some of those challenges or come up with solutions to maybe give you money, or other challenges, maybe other losses you may have as you also get this opportunity to graduate. But are there things that can sustain you? Are there things that you can bounce back? There's going to be those stressors, but you're still going to continue with your life, with your dreams, with your goals, and you are still going to be successful despite all of those challenges. And that is what we are talking about in terms of resilience and thriving, even if some of those factors, some of those stressors may remain the same. How do we do that? That is the conversation. Next slide. So with navigating these transition challenges, which was talking about those various domains, my colleagues who will be coming after me, they will be speaking on different areas of those challenges, depending on what is very personal to someone. And we believe that what is personal to the speaker is likely corrective, is likely going to resonate with other people who are on this platform as well. Next slide. So sometimes with these challenges related to mental health, people suffer in isolation. You feel like you're dying inside and still not feel comfortable to speak or to share. And it is not your fault. Sometimes those social environments we are a part of influence how we express ourselves, or we choose to numb our feelings. Sometimes it may feel like it will be worse if you share. So we want to make sure to share a little bit about statistics. But as I say statistics, it's people, it's us. It's not numbers. It's people that I'm talking about. So globally, how common are mental health challenges? It is including those that resulting from these challenges related to transitions. Again, our brains are not wired to welcome transitions. No, our brains love routines, even when it is not the best for our growth, for our well-being. They want us to be in the comfort zones. They feel like maybe remaining on college will be a better thing. Maybe let me have another semester at college, maybe as I explore things. So that's generally the brain does not like new things changing. Like even if something is not comfortable, is not the best, you feel like maybe it is better if I keep it. So that makes it one of those changes, one of the contributors to mental health challenges. So 1 in 4 people will experience a mental health challenge in their lives. So he is to say that you're not alone. With the people who are here, you're not alone if you are struggling. You're not alone. But I want to narrow from the global numbers to a little bit of sharing a bit of what I have been learning from the students themselves. With what I have been learning from the students, this is not research. It's based on our pre-workshops assessments. We do, when we have workshops like this, we ask some questions so that you can see where people are. With those assessments we have done with scholars and alumni communities, our data shows that 74.3% have a fear of failure. The fear of failure, 74.3% are struggling with that. What is going to happen? The data shows that at least 73.6% are struggling with managing expectations from themselves, from family, from siblings. That is something that is heavy. But also around 75.7% struggling on how do I choose which grad studies do I going to continue with as you transition. Some of them are saying around 62.9% saying these experiences are impacting my self-esteem. So if you're starting to feel shy and not knowing if this job is something you qualify to do or something, know that you're not alone. And one of the recent assessment we conducted before a workshop was around 308 students attended. We asked them, do you believe you have a mental illness? Among those 308 people, 14% said yes. And what was scary, 40.9% said, I don't know, maybe. And that is where many of us see ourselves in. We don't know because we don't have time or don't have the opportunity to seek counseling. Also, I have some numbers, or kind of feel scared to reflect on our own experiences, or not having a space to speak with our colleagues, our friends, our classmates about those emotional challenges. So that maybe that's where you are. And one of those also questions that we asked, do you believe your mental health situation are negatively affecting your academic performance? Among the 308, 35.7%, which is 110, said yes. And when we asked, are you feeling suicidal? Among the 308, 39 students said, yes, I have suicidal thoughts. And the same number, 39% said, you know, I think I don't know what the feelings I have are scary. Maybe they are suicidal. So we are talking about our life. It is not numbers. It is not something about other people in the world. It's about our own experiences. Next slide. So I will not have to go deep into this. I only want you to participate. If you can try again, one of probably the challenges around mental health is not being self-aware. You saw that maybe 40.9% say maybe I have a mental health issue. So if we can exercise now, would you say, how are you feeling right now? If mental health was a battery, your emotional well-being battery, what would you say? If 1 is the lowest emotional state of well-being and the 6 is the highest, you can feel free to jot down a number. Maybe you are at 1, which is in red, and then maybe in green, which is kind of the numbers, but from 1 to 6. Feel free to put it in the chat box. And again, maybe this is a gesture or starting to be self-aware and be curious about your own experiences as you navigate these challenges related to transitions. Next slide. So we will have time to discuss this, but if you are feeling hopeless, if you're feeling like you are withdrawing from social, you're no longer wanting to be with your friends, they are calling you to share, to work together, to be in assignment groups, and you feel like, I don't want to. You want to stay in your room, starting to drink more, feeling unmotivated. Maybe you need to be curious about what is going on. Next slide. So as we go through exploring ways of coping with mental distress, which also my colleagues will discuss further, I want to say that these coping strategies are those things you do and they feel happier. You feel like a relief. You feel less overwhelmed. You feel loved. You feel to belong. You feel like you matter. You feel like you can do it. You feel motivated. You feel hopeful. You sleep well. You don't feel shy sharing your ideas. You're not numbing your feelings. What are those things that you personally do? Can you also join me putting in chat box what you personally do that helps you, that sustains you? What is sustaining you in this process, as it can be challenges? Please put it in the chat box. So amidst your transition challenges, what activities or experiences typically rejuvenate your emotional well-being and elevate your mood? Please share 2 to 3 of these in the chat box. I see exercising from Victoria, dancing, listening to music. I see so many people talking about listening to music. Thank you. Going to the gym. Yeah, thank you very much. And keep writing that. Maybe someone is going to be inspired. And also, I know that it is easier said than done. And also, it's easy to say it and to try it, but sustainability is harder. And maybe that is also part of what the puzzle we need to address. Next slide. So as we talk about what is helping, what is sustaining you, what you need to do, sometimes and many times it also goes with what you need to stop doing. Sometimes you're trying to do the right things, but there is some established habits of unhelpful coping strategies that you need to stop for that growth, for that wellness to take place. I'm not going to say what is it, but you know those examples. I'm not saying it is you, it's in general, but please put in the chat box, what do you think are unhealthy coping mechanisms that we need to avoid? What would you advise? There's the wellness strategy to try, and there's what to avoid. Put in chat box what to avoid. Drug, alcohol. I see that. Thank you very much. Please keep doing that. That's helpful. And now another slide, please. Next. So again, I'm going to invite my colleagues to share. You will have time for questions. I'm going to invite my colleagues to share also some words about the own experiences or collective experiences, whatever they are comfortable sharing. Starting with my colleague, Sandrine.
Thank you so much, Dr. JPN. And I'm happy to be here and to share my experience. I think it doesn't go very far from what you just said, but to give a bit of background, I am a Mastercard Foundation alumna, and I went to the University of Edinburgh. I did my master's in global health policy. And I wanted to share a little bit about the challenges maybe and the tips that helped me when I was transitioning from undergraduate to graduate education. Because sometimes when we are finishing the bachelor's degree, you're thinking like, what's next? Do I go into the professional world immediately? Do I go to graduate school? As we said, also, do I go to other personal ambitions like getting married or go to entrepreneurship, things like that. So for me, when I was finishing undergraduate school, I went straight to graduate school. And it wasn't really straight. Like I said, straight, it wasn't that smooth and easy. But one of the challenges I faced was to secure a scholarship. Like I was on a scholarship on my undergraduate studies, and I knew I needed a scholarship for graduate school as well. So it was really challenging at the very beginning with the standard test like GRE that I had to do. And also finding right programs for me, because I was doing, my undergraduate was in public health and international studies, and I was looking for something that also relates with my two degrees, my two bachelor's degree. And it was quite challenging. And what helped me is, I can say what unintentionally helped me, which I can also maybe give as a tips to anyone who's thinking about that, about going to graduate school, is to start early. I started early, but I can say honestly, not knowing that I'm starting early, because what I did was I used my office hours with my advisors, my professors, and through the conversations that I was having and building relationships with my professors, I was able to pick from them like, oh, actually, Sandrine, we realized that you're more interested in this. You're very strong in this. Actually, we know a program at this university that can be helpful for you. So that time I took to connect and build relationships with professors and advisors really helped me to prepare, even though I didn't know I was doing it, but looking back, it was what really helped me. And in the application process as well, they helped me to review essays. because I feel like there is what we know as our strength, but also those people who are guiding us, mentoring us, there are things that they know about us that we don't know. And that really helped me. I got good recommendation letters because of that relationship that I built. So for anyone who is, I think that this can also apply to any trajectory that you want to take. Building those relationships with your mentors, your professors can really be helpful because they know more than we do, and they have seen a lot of young people who are going through school, and guiding you can be easy for them because they've been there for a long time that we did, and they're experienced. So I think so what I just said is preparing Ari and building relationship with people who helps us and guide us and mentor us. So another challenge that I faced, I think this kind of applies to those who are studying outside the continent. I did my undergrad in the US and my postgrad in the UK. So I had to change the location. At the very beginning, I was like, I'm staying in the US. I'm going to look for opportunities here. I'm used to this location, so why change? But I realized that what I was looking for was not, I couldn't find it in the US, but I was finding it somewhere else. So I focused more on what I want to study, not the location, because what I was getting elsewhere was also important. So sometimes we get stuck of like, oh, I'm used to this place, I'm not moving. Yes, it's the change, but maybe having that to analyze like what am I getting from elsewhere versus staying here. Elsewhere, maybe that's why you're getting the scholarship, that's why you're getting the program that you want. So maybe trying to find your focus and also follow the opportunity rather than being stuck on a place that is not providing really what you want. So it was a big transition, but I don't regret it because it helped me to get the degree that I wanted. And also it exposed me to a different perspective, to a different area, which supported my personal and professional growth as well. So another thing that I wanted to talk about was then transitioning back home to Rwanda, because after my graduate school, I went back home. So that was almost after 7 years of not spending more than 3 months home. I would just go for holidays. And now I'm going back to position myself there to find an employment there. It was really hard because after 7 years, things have changed. I experienced the reverse shock culture where I felt like this is home, but it doesn't feel like home. I learned a lot. I changed. My perspective on things have changed, but I feel like home stayed the same. And navigating that and reconnecting with my old work professional relationships, knowing where to go, especially that if you live in a country like Rwanda that is rapidly growing, sometimes it's a challenging. You step out of the country and you come back after 4 years, a lot of things have changed. So I struggled to know where to look. And also that I feel like my sense of identity was a bit disoriented because of spending a lot of time outside. So in the process to finding my place back home, I actually remembered that I had some internships when I was in school. I had my internship at the World Health Organization, and my thesis for graduate school, I conducted back home. So I started with those people because those organizations knew me when I was studying, and the relationships that I built there really helped me to know my way around. So I think here the tip that I can share with you is even when you're studying, even when you're on the continent, it doesn't necessarily, you don't have to be outside the continent. At some point, stay connected with home at some point. their internship, community involvement when you go back home. All those things that keeps you connected with home will serve you when you go back home, because that's where you will start to look for opportunities, to look for whatever you can do. So that brings the feelings of also when you're going through that, you start doubting yourself, like, did I make a right decision to go back home? That's when the mental health challenges comes in, and seeking help really helps me. I have a very strong support system in my family, but not everyone, that doesn't apply to everyone. But I wish I knew more about mental health then. But I would say that if you're struggling, maybe try to seek help. Don't be afraid to say, no, I'm keeping this to myself. Look for people that you trust and who really understand you, and seek help. Don't hesitate to reach out. Even if you're struggling with finding employment, do not hesitate to write that email to say, actually, I'm struggling with this. I'm looking for this in this area. Those people will really support you to navigate that. So I think that's all I have to share. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sandrine. That was so helpful and so interesting. I'm sure a lot of people can relate with the challenges that you described. Let me share my screen again and see who our next panelist is going to be. I think I'm going to bring them all up because I'm not sure who we're going to have next. Who would like to go?
Malta. It will be Malta, Robina, then Clementine.
Okay, Martha.
Hey, good evening, everyone. All right. So I'm so excited to share about my part. My name is Martha Iradukunda. I am from Rwanda, but I'm currently studying my undergraduate degree, Bachelor's of Science in Applied Computer Technology at the United States International University, Nairobi, Kenya. So I'm actually a final year student, a senior, so it's really hot in here. We are, like most of my colleagues, we are really pressured. We are feeling how we are going to drive through our transition from the undergraduate studies, how we are going to face the environment, the world, you know. So actually, like, you find that we have formed a group of friends, and maybe these friends actually we are sharing the same major, same courses. And again, actually, transition is not only about further studies. It can be entrepreneurship. It can be going for employment. Can be also going for marriage. There are so many ways you can transit. You can transition. So, so these friends you have formed, they are going to be having maybe same career goals or different. So in the case you're having same career goals, maybe you're struggling to search for internship. So that is the perspective of myself and my friends. So we are searching for further studies opportunities, and then now we are going to take much time searching, and sometimes maybe we get rejected because we applied before getting our degree certificate and so on. So we get really anxious and stressed. Yeah, so, and again, apart from searching for further studies opportunities, I'm going to talk on the perspective of international students. So you found that some of us, we already got used to the host country. We don't want to go back home immediately before getting the opportunity for postgraduate studies. So we feel like going back home is like we don't have any connections for the goals we are having already. So there is a lot of pressure that is coming in. So again, these uncertainties of looking for further studies, for scholarships, you will also face the issue of choosing the course, the master's courses. You don't know the kind of research course you are going for. So you're really trying to connect, look for people who can advise, and so on. So there's a lot of emotional stress coming up. And of course, now that's my situation currently. That is the situation of my colleagues that we are graduating soon. And now, how are we going to handle all these emotions? So I think the first thing we need to acknowledge our feelings. We should recognize and validate our emotions. We should be aware that being anxious, confused is okay, and we accept the feelings. Yeah, so I think accepting the feelings is the first step we are supposed to take. And another thing, we seek support from our scholars program support. We seek support from our peers that have already finished, such as Sandrine, the alumni from undergraduate schools, and so on. Also, we can stay focused and stay organized. So we create a plan and a timeline for scholarships application. And on the case of like applying for something, we take a note of what you have applied for, because now if we don't have uh, such an organization, you might forget what you applied for. And again, being organized, we can also like break down the process into manageable steps to reduce feelings of being overwhelmed. So we can also stay informed. We research thoroughly about the scholarship programs offered for master's level. And now, actually, starting early is good, but sometimes it can be not very, very good, because you might face a lot of rejections to start your master's level and you feel disappointed. Yeah, so in the face of looking for further studies opportunities, I think you should have a plan B. Yeah, don't like be on fixed on one thing, like it's only masters you can go for. Have a plan B of maybe you do an entrepreneur business that can really support you. You might even find yourself that the venture you are entering into is going to fulfill the dreams you never you had earlier, but you never thought this project or business is going to support you. You can also look for employment opportunities. There are so many jobs for people who have graduated from school that doesn't require a lot of experiences. So that can be another plan B. And also you can stay open to exploring different fields that might interest you, like a journey that can lead you to unexpected, exciting opportunities. So yeah, being stressed is actually a normal thing. Being confused is okay. And I hope my colleagues that we are sharing the same kind of thoughts, the kind of feeling, the kind of anxiety. We are ready to face this journey. We are ready to try our best to overcome. We seek support from our leaders, the alumni, and those who have already achieved and passed the journey. So yeah, I think that's what I can share at the moment. And I really appreciate your listening to my experience. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marta. JPN, who will be going next?
So after Malta is Robina. And also we do know, Elizabeth, if you allow me, we also do know that you all on the who are here want to speak. So if you have a question, feel free to ask, raise a hand, and even my colleagues who haven't spoken can also use that as an opportunity to answer to your question, kind of use the insight to also address your questions so that we can make sure that you also have time to ask questions. So are there any questions that have been raised so far?
So there are questions in the chat. Should we go to the question in the chat and see if Clementine or Shalon or Robina may be appropriate for answering them, or you? Because I know we're a little concerned with time. So we have our first question is from Simon Oyo, says, how might we deal with stress that comes from within a startup organization where there are leadership wrangles that make it hard to build the organization, while at the same time dutifully reporting back the progress? So what do you do when the organization you're working in is going through transitions and that's causing you stress? Anyone want to respond to that?
I know that Clementine, I know that you have been trying to start an NGO or a business, and maybe other as well. So maybe feel free to reflect on that and how you are dealing with that. Clementine, do you hear us?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. According to the question, how might we deal with the stress that comes from within a startup organization? So during the startup of organization, it is somehow very challenging because it requires some efforts, like some capital. For me, if I can go with what the topic I was going to say is about the anxiety. So we as a graduate, our topic is about transitions, yeah, we tend to do after graduation, asking ourselves the question, what am I gonna do after graduation? This pressure, it can pressure us to do something, whatever it can take so that you can get some capital. That capital can come from different pressures, but it's going to cause some stresses, asking ourselves such a kind of questions. So that stress of starting an organization, NGO, straight after graduation, it's something which can cause a heavy load. Sometimes we are terrified. We have some expectations which are differ from the reality outside. As my colleague said, we don't know what the future holds. Sometimes you get outside and you find yourself what you expected while you were at the school is somehow different. And what is the time period when you don't have someone to support you? When we are at school, everyone has pity for us. Everyone is asking you, have you got to lunch? Have you got? And then you are free to express yourself. But when you are fresh graduate, you want to start something. I'm not going to explain really exactly the question because it might need some other experiences which I don't have. But I'm going to explain how I understand as a fresh graduate. Yeah, and it might be somehow different situation as you start to compare yourself to other people who are successful and you are starting. It requires you some effort maybe you don't have. So this can cause some stresses ahead. So some tips you can do is to find someone who is more who has more experience in that organization, because the starting point is always very hard, it's very hot. So finding these successful people, reading the books written by these people who are successful, it can give some tips to continue to proceed. And some people used to pay some money online just to study how others are doing. So this one also can help attending some webinars. There are some free webinars online. If I may try to refer you to somewhere you can find some advices. And this one can help you to get some tips, to get some knowledge which you don't have, to manage those stresses and get fit into that organization which you are starting. And pay attention to some job announcements and opportunities which are around, so that you can be able just to fit into that opportunity, to that initiative we are going to find. So we at the school, I think we were trained to be a critical thinker. So I think in whatever career, as a fresh graduate, as we are facing the anxiety, I was facing anxiety in the early start of my final year. Actually, I'm finishing up. I finished all the modules. I'm doing civil engineering, but I started to feel and to experience anxiety in the early final year. So I was wondering myself, what am I going to do? Like the people in my age are getting married, are getting babies. So what am I going to do? That was the question. So it made me like feel disorganized by pointing fingers to those one. What am I going to do? The assignments used to occupy me. So what am I going to do with my free time? What am I going to do? So that kind of thought, it can cause chaos in the head and then makes you feel disorganized. The best thing is, as the last tip you do, is to feel that everything is okay, and make sure, just know that many people, they pretend to know what is going to follow. Just know that no one knows what is going to come, and feel settled. There is something that Dr. Jepian shared in the group of Soul Mind, and I liked it so much. It says, if you find a job which does not fit your career, just step in it, even though it is not your dream job, but it can be your first step, and then celebrate a milestone. Thank you.
Wow, thanks, Clementine. And I'm also seeing in the chat box from Giselle, reflecting on the similar question. Before you start an organization, you need to be patient to yourself. Connect with supportive people to direct you and support you, and believe in the world of competition. And there's also Dina. They said on stress at startup organizations, my quick reflections are: reorganize yourselves in a group of like-minded individuals sharing the same vision. Define your niche. What do you do? What do you stand for? Do research, network, and market yourselves, because someone might pick interest in your intervention. Thanks very much. Maybe Robina, if you have some reflections as well, some tips, and then Sharon close it for us.
Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning on and for logging on. Good evening, everyone. My name is Nyakesha Robina. I'm a student at Makerere University pursuing Master of Arts in Religious Studies. I'm a teacher by profession. So when we talk about transition, I will summarize because of time. And I'm going to talk about something small, but it is very big in detail. That is transition from campus to the world of work. So this period of transition, sometimes, that period, we call it a dangerous period of transition. Sorry, you might not be able to see me because I'm somewhere, I have been having a lecture. So you might not be able to see me. I'm sorry for that. So during this period of transition, we face a lot of challenges. Those challenges come as a result of us not being prepared to face the world. Or sometimes our minds do not prepare us to face the world. It is said that 84% of graduate students face.
Maybe as I know someone here, I'm seeing a question from Samuel. How can we handle academic stress for medical students who are doing business together with academic studies? Sometimes it's not always easy for medical students. Due to that, we are overloaded with studies and assignment. I know that it was yesterday asking Sharon, what's the difference between a medical student and clinical medicine students, and I believe there is so much of a common ground, and maybe Sharon can help discussing to that, since I know that you're doing great, maybe you can share some tips with how you are balancing different things. I know you have been always supportive in different platforms and still doing the clinical medicine. Do you mind sharing those tips and how they have helped you in transitions, knowing that you will be graduating soon, Sharon?
Yes, thank you so much. My name is Jean Ndagijimana. I'm from Rwanda, and yeah, I have done with studies. I'm now doing my internship. I finished my study on May 3rd and started my professional internship on 14th May. Hello?
We hear you. We hear you. Keep going.
Yes, as I said, like, let me share like one tip that I used during my study, like balancing academic and other stuff I have involved in. Yeah, it's all about having a timetable, having a good plan for a day, and say like at this time I'll be doing this, I'll be attending the class. Then after the class, I have to go for the physical activity to leave. Then I will take like 30 minutes to do a course from Baobab platform or Coursera. Then another 30 minutes, I will be maybe talking to the friends, like having a clear plan. So that's what I can share with Samuel. Yeah. So coming back to what I was going to talk today, I prepared to talk about the tips for managing transition, like what I used to manage the transition, what I used to just jump from the study immediately, then I got the internship. Sandina talked about everything, so I'm going to talk about my story. I did use the connection. No, the connection. Okay, I talked the connection. Then my connection, we are aware that I'm finishing my classes, my studies, and then after everyone was reaching out to me saying, "Shine, what are you doing?" And I was like, I have started my internship. So during my last exam on the May 3rd, there's this lecturer who is having the clinic here in Kigali. He was one of our evaluators at the. He was one of our evaluator. Then, come early morning, found me at the site where we did our exam. He was like, "Sean, can you help me find the office? Find like knowing this, being comfortable with this place." And I was like, "Yes." Then after doing the exam, he phoned me out and said, "Sharon, do you know someone who can do ultrasound, who can do this and this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm finishing my study, then I can do that. I can do ultrasound, I can consultate, I can do all of those things I've studied during my study." So I said, "Okay, when are you willing to start?" And it was like, "I'm starting on the 4th, on the 15th May, I'll be fresh in the head, in the mind, I'll be ready to start." Then that's how I got my first internship, what I'm doing now. So what I can share with you as the conclusion is starting by the available opportunity. Maybe those opportunities will connect you with the people who are giving the big opportunity, and then you can start from there. Another thing is, like when you feel like you need help, go for the help, ask help, talk to your friend, tell them you have finished the study, you are looking for this and this, you're interested in this and this. When they get the opportunity, they'll share with you. So that's all what I wanted to say today. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you. Thank you very much, Sharon. And thanks other panelists for these wonderful contributions. And if there is one thing I can say is that the transitions are and can be stressful. And you not alone. And as a community, just know that someone probably is going through a similar thing. And there are things that they are trying to do. So don't abandon yourself. Try to do something, seek assistance, seek help from your university, from your family, from friends. Do not isolate. And I appreciate that we came as a community I know that the time you could ask more questions, you could share more. And I want to appreciate Elizabeth and Joanne, Kelvin, and the team for everything that you did to make this space. It was an honor for Solid Minds to, and the scholars we work with to contribute to this space. Over to you, Elizabeth. Thanks.
Thank you so much. That was really, really interesting and really helpful hearing both your overview and the tips and experiences of your panelists. I think that if anyone wants to follow up with contacting Solid Minds, they can. I think Victorine can put the website into chat in case people would like to know more about Solid Minds. And thank you all for all the panelists. I so appreciate your time and your insight. And we look forward to seeing everyone at our next webinar next month. So keep an eye out for the keep an eye out for an announcement. Quick shout out. Someone asked in the Q&A about how do you find other scholarships? Baobab has a really nice course about pursuing graduate studies. And in that, there's information about other organizations that offer scholarships. So you can check that out as well. All right. Thank you all. Thank you all so much.
Beyond the skies, you